welcome back to another video. This really popped when I saw it. That to me is a monster increase. Again, this book got hot. This book is ready to go higher.
So let's jump right into it.
We are back today with another statue review from Diamond Select Toys. Without further ado, let's get into the review. Bang! What is going on, YouTube? This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles, and I want to thank you guys for joining me for another video here on the channel. Today, of course, we're talking about unboxings. I have a slew of unboxings for you guys. I went to my LCS, but not only that, we're going to be talking about value and what books can be had right now for great prices. But before we get started in the video, like always, I want to remind you guys, if you're not a current sub of the channel, don't forget I'm giving away a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 16 away to one lucky sub once we get to 7,000. Of course, smash that like button for me because it really helps the channel out. And if you guys are not following me on Instagram and of course on Twitter, you're definitely missing out as well, so click those buttons. One other thing I want to remind you guys of, I have some affiliate links in the description of these videos and let you guys know what boards, what bags, what bins, what card stuff I use. So do me a favor, if you're interested, check out the links in the description. With that said, let's check out what I got over the past month. All right, first of all, let's start off with the stuff I got from my LCS Zap Comics over the past month or so. So you're going to see some books that I've been talking about recently in a few of my Hot 10 Breakdown of the Week videos. If you guys don't watch those, you're missing out because I tell you which books I'm interested in buying if they come up on the list and for what prices. So let's start off with the big books that everybody wanted this week. We, of course, have Thundercats #1. You guys know I'm a huge Thundercats fan. This is my favorite cover of that run so far, so I was able to pick up this copy for myself, but I also was able to pick up the Virgin variant of the same exact cover. So to me, this is the best cover because you guys know I'm an action figure guy. So anytime I see these action figure covers for cheap, for cover price, I'm always picking them up. And shout out to Zap Comics as usual because they always hook me up. Now, a couple of things that I did mention on the Hot 10 Breakdown of the Week is when we get some of these issues that I say are great storylines that I don't want to actually go out and buy the comics for, but I want like the trade paperbacks or omnibus. Zap Comics also had this. You guys saw me mention this book on the Hot 10 Breakdown of the Week this past week, and it was on it. The #1 issue has been on it over the past couple of months, and I always say, if you guys talk about great stories and you don't want to buy the individual issues because they're really expensive, buying the trade paperback is always a great way to go. This one was $29.99, so this is one of my favorite reads in comics, especially back in the day, so I decided to go ahead and pick that up. Another one I also picked up was also a great read, was Batman Hush. Now again, these issues are a little bit cheaper. You could probably buy all the issues if you wanted to, but for me, because of the storyline is awesome, because the storyline is actually detective themed, I wanted to just buy this one to read over and over again if I choose to do so. So again, that's what I got from my LCS Zap Comics. I always appreciate them because they always hook me up. Now, with that said, guys, I got a bunch of stuff off some live claim sales and some stuff off of eBay. I started off this video talking about value and what books can be had for great prices right now, and that's what we're really going to focus on here right now in this video. So let me start by saying this. If you're a Mighty member of the channel, you know there are 4 books that I put out over the past month or so that I said I was looking for to buy, to pounce on, because the value for some of these books at certain grades are really worth it in my opinion right now. So actually, I've had 3 of those books here today that I picked up out of the 4 for you members. If you guys are not Mighty members, you guys are missing out because it does let you know what I'm looking for. So let's start with some of those. First is, of course, a book I actually picked up off a live claim sale, Elite Comics 11. Now, this is not a book I was looking for, but it is something I have actually never seen before, okay? Keep that in the back of your head when I talk about this, because this is actually a foreign book, believe it or not, all right? A foreign book, and it comes with something utterly ridiculous that I had never seen before, but because of the price, I decided to go ahead and snag this up and say to myself, you know what? Somebody out there in the community is going to want this thing. There's totally definitely a person who collects these type of weird things, and they're definitely going to want this. So I bought it in mind that I may just go ahead and sell it to someone who really wants it, but again, I wanted to show you what it was. All right, so I finally got it out of the Gemini, and they did a great job of wrapping this up. So I got this over at Kyle's Comics. I always just see him at the local shows in the area, but I don't attend those shows too much anymore. So, but check this out. It is a copy of X-Force #0. Okay, not only that, guys, The cover is done by Rob Liefeld, who we all know is a nut, but check this out. It comes with their own X-Force watch. I have never seen this comic book before. It is a foreign issue. I'm not too sure which country it's from. I want to say Germany, but I could be totally wrong on this one, so just keep that in the back of your mind. But also on the back of this thing is this. I'm not too sure what the hell that is, if it's a bookmark or whatever the hell it is. But there you go. You guys can see that right there. So this is super cool, and I had never seen this before, so I decided to go ahead and pick it up. I paid a total of $75 for it, which I probably overpaid, but when you see something so rare that you've never seen before, I think it's always a good buy because someone in this community is going to want to see it, possibly own something like this. All right, so the next thing I picked up was actually from Heroes Comic Books on Newsstand Collector's IG account. He had a live sale with them, and he always does a great job with his sellers. And I will say this, if you guys haven't watched our video, we did a live stream about a couple of weeks ago. Go check that video out because there's a great insights that he came into that video with to give you a little bit of information about some of these consignment pages and stuff like that and where books are right now. And I agree with him. Go check out that video because if you haven't watched it, you really are truly missing out because there's a lot of great information. But again, I was able to pick up a fantastic set of books that I already own, but when I heard what the seller was saying about these books, I had to pounce on it. All right, so it took me a while because there was a ton of tape on this thing and I wanted to take my time to kind of make sure the books didn't get damaged because what they were offering up was a file copy set of Batman Year One. So they are super, super high grade. Check this one out. I've never actually seen file copies of these books. This is part one. Super, super high grade. All four, the whole set. Awesome. Now, when I got back into comics when I was a kid, this is one of the first storylines that I read. You guys know I'm a huge Batman fan. I absolutely love this and Death in the Family. So, to me, I actually paid $100 for this super high-grade set of books that were file copies. I thought that was totally worth it for a storyline that I actually really appreciated and remember reading as a young adult. So, with that said, I'm going to say whenever you find something out there that you love that brings you back to your childhood, that's really what this channel is about. Like, we as collectors, this is a callback to like when we were kids, right? So when I saw that for the price that they were asking, I had to jump on it. I would actually consider possibly getting these graded because they are in such fine condition, but we'll see what happens. I know there's a lot of stuff going on right now with CGC, so we'll see where that heads. But regardless, we're moving on. We're going to get to the one thing that I actually purchased off of eBay. I actually ended up messaging the seller on eBay, and when I say there are a ton of copies of this book out there, especially listed on eBay right now. So again, if you're making offers on eBay, now is the time to shine for value, like I was saying before. So I ended up messaging him saying, hey, you know, would you take this? And he said, no, I can't really do that. So I said, hey, do you have an IG? And of course, I messaged him on IG, and we made a great deal. So I actually paid $430 for this book shipped, and when I show it to you guys, you're going to see that right now for the grades that they are out there for this book, you can actually get a really great deal. I was actually unfortunately on some recent live sales where they're asking way too much money for this book around the same grade. Do your due diligence, because if you know what GPA last sale is, you know where the 90-day is, and you're checking Comic Link, stuff like that, you can see what this book is going for around this grade. So let me go ahead and show you what it is. So it is a slab. You guys know I'm only buying raw for the most part. So before I show you what it is, I want to say this. When you see this book, my plan is actually to crack this book out and possibly press it and keep it raw. Or the other option is this, is I'm going to send it in to CBCS and have them reholder it with a new CBCS label. So this book is actually a witness signature. Joe Sinat signed this book. Of course, it is Fantastic Four number 52 and a CBCS 4.5. Now, let me say right here, I absolutely hate this old CBCS label. Is one of the worst labels they ever did, but because it is a witness signature, it does hold more value. It's not verified, which is, you know, is fine by me. I don't really care if it's verified or witnessed. I usually could tell for the most part if his signature is good out of the, you know, the major ones that I've seen. So because this though is witnessed, I'm actually contemplating having it reholdered and of course relabeled by CBCS. So I want to hear your opinion out there. Should I crack this out and just keep it raw, or should I get it reholdered and get that new CBCS label? The caveat to that is this: if I am going to get this reholdered, I'm actually thinking about sending in my Detective Comics number 31 to also have that reholdered so I can get them both done at the same time. But I want to hear your comments down below. I'm actually going to put a poll up right after this video airs saying to you guys, which should we do? So make sure you go ahead and vote. So I have one other box to unbox for you guys. But again, I paid a total of $430 for this and a 4.5. And to me back then, I think CBCS was really hard on these books. I will say that. So this one looked better to me as well. It looked more like a 5.0 or a 5.5. Let's see if I can get you a good shot of this book. There is a sub crease, which is probably going to bring down the value and bring down the grade of this book, but I didn't care. I wanted a copy of this book because I thought it was so undervalued for what it was. I think a 4.5 about 2 years ago was almost $1,000, if not more. So this is one of the books that I told my Mighty members that I was chasing after, because between a 4.0 and a 5.0, it was between $400 and $500. So again, this is a good pickup in my opinion, just because where it was and now where it is right now. A Silver Age first appearance. So I apologize. I forgot that I have one more book that I did purchase off of eBay. I got a great deal on this one. And again, falls right in line with value because this book has come down a little bit as well. So let's get into this one. Oh my God, these guys have been really great with the shipping. I will say that. The packing is freaking phenomenal. So again, like I was saying, I picked this one off of eBay as well. I made an offer on one that was listed at a decent price, but I figured where this book was, like I said, a couple of years ago to where it is now, it has really come down. So, beggars can be choosers right now in this market. You can go out and make great offers, sometimes almost ridiculous offers, and someone might accept. So I was able to also pick up a copy of Detective Comics number 359. The first appearance of Barbara Gordon as Batgirl. Now this book was on my Mighty membership level video that I do once every few months, letting you guys know what I'm looking for. So they knew right off the bat I was definitely looking for this book. I wanted to stick to a mid grade. This is a 4.0 copy. So again, right around that. Presents okay, not amazing, but there's a few, of course, there are a few spine ticks, but I don't need this book in super high grade. It's off white to white pages. But again, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to crack this book out and keep it raw because that's really what I want my collection to be. Now, at some point, if they do some great Batman labels over at CGC or possibly even CBCS, I know they don't do DC labels. If that happens, these books will definitely go with some of my other ones. But for now, this one is getting cracked, keeping raw in my collection. All right, so the last box I have for you guys is something that I actually picked up, again, off Newsstand Collectors live feed with Dustin Lineback. If you guys aren't following him, make sure you do so. He has some of the best books when there are live streams out there on IG, okay? He has some great raw stuff as well, which guys know I love, but he also had some great slabs. Now, I did pick up a slab, and I also picked up a raw book from him. Now, I say to you guys, I tell you time and time again, I'm only buying raws, but what I plan to do with this book is crack it out of the holder, and then, of course, keep it raw in my collection. As always, he does an awesome job packing. It's like freaking Fort Knox. So let's see if I can get this bubble wrap off so I can show you what I got. After all that, I finally got at least a slab out. So let me show you what I was able to pick up. Again, another book. We're talking about value, okay? Value right now is a relative term because it's what you're really willing to pay for a book. So I knew with this book, I wanted to stick between $400 and $500. And this one, around a 3.0 at some point, was $1,000. But I actually picked up a 4.5 copy of Silver Surfer #1. An iconic cover by the great John Buscema. This one is off white pages to boot. You could see he had it listed for $550. I made an offer of $450, and he gladly accepted. So right now, he was trying to move books, and a couple of guys or gals on the live stream saw me snipe some of these books for deals. And I mentioned on the live stream, now is a great time to be buying because you're getting fantastic deals, at least with the great dealers, in my opinion, because there's still a lot of dealers when I go to shows, even some on the live streams on IG. They're still overpriced for books. I don't want to name any names, but when I see a book, and I'll give the example of FF52, someone had like a 5.0, he had it for like $750. I just bought a 4.5 for $430. So we're talking about a half a grade, maybe a point, and we're talking about almost a $300 difference. That's what I'm talking about. I know you may be into the book a little more, but if you want to sell books, collectors are very savvy, just like myself. We're looking at last sales. We're looking at 90 days. So you better be priced right or you're not moving your book. So that is my CGC book that I got. I'm going to crack it out. I want to keep the book raw because that is my preference. A lot of people out there may think I'm nuts, but everything's going on with CGC, and I like having raw books. I like being able to look through books and stuff like that. So I actually ended up picking up another raw book from him. And again, we're talking about value, and that's why I picked this book up. I used to have this book in my collection, but At some point, I sold the few copies that I had when I thought it was prudent to do so. So let me get some of this tape off, and I'll show you what else I pick. And this is the last thing that I actually have for this video. So, all right, so this last book he had graded at a 6.0, okay? It's a really nice looking copy of this book. There are some spine ticks, but other than that, it really presents nice. Of course, it is a copy of Batman number 251, this classic Neil Adams Joker cover. So you can see I actually ended up paying $400 for this book, which I thought was a pretty good deal considering I really wanted a signed copy by Neil Adams, but they're getting up there in price, and I just wanted to own the book. Neil signed a lot of stuff, so it wasn't a priority for me to get a signed copy. We'll see eventually if I can find one for cheap. I may end up going that route, but for now, this raw copy is perfectly fine for my collection. So again, guys, value. Buy value, right? And it's like I said before, it's to each his own. It's in your own relative terms what is right for you. So I thought FF52, from where it was to where it is, for being such a big key that it is, people forget when before they announced the Black Panther movie, that book was so cheap. We're talking about under $100 in mid-grade, and now all of a sudden I pick up a copy for $430. Same with Batman 251. Unfortunately, ever since Neil's passing, especially signed books, they've gone through the roof. This and 227, they've gone up in price, but I wanted to have one in the collection, to say the least. And of course, the other book, the Silver Surfer 1, same goes for that iconic cover. We could talk about FF48 and how that book has gotten crushed, but it went up so much when Disney announced that they bought Fox. I mean, it went like 8 times over what it was. So I think that book still has a little bit more room to drop. But other than that, if you want the first appearance of the Silver Surfer, it is still worth it if you're a long-term holder, in my opinion. So that's it for the unboxing. I think I showed you a bunch of stuff, especially if you're interested in membership for the channel. These guys knew about that a long time ago when I posted that video. There's still one book that I'm looking to acquire, but it's an expensive one. So with that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed my haul. Before I end this video, check out these 2 videos right here if you're so inclined, and I will talk to you guys soon.